Hello and welcome back to this God thing. Today we are going to be looking at two scriptures that blew me away when I was just starting to get into this God thing. If you are at a place where you have done all of the courses, you've read every self-help book, you have tried to heal yourself, you have tried to make your business work and take off and bring the money in and bring the clients in, and you're tired, burnt out, and you're at a place where you're like, I can't do it anymore, it's hard, then you're in the right place. The first scripture absolutely blew my mind. And we're going to look at the encouragement that we get and also a promise. So the encouragement is going to be the first scripture. And then the second one will be what is possible. So it is so easy as a woman. You will be switched on. You will be clever. You will be able to write a to-do list and get through it like Superwoman. You will be used to doing things on your own because you've probably been let down in the past. And it's like, I'll do it all on my own. I'm an independent woman. I've followed Destiny's Child and I can do it all by myself. And that's fine until a certain point. And if you're anything like me, you keep hitting a wall and you kept hitting that wall and you kept going round in circles and it felt hard. And you knew it could be easier. You sensed it could be easier. You feel like there's something missing, but you've not resonated with this God thing. You've not invited it in. You've not got a relationship with it, with God, because it never made sense as a child. It didn't for me. Sunday school did not do a good job. Religion, in my opinion, has not done a very good job. This isn't about religion. This is about your relationship with God. That's the point. And it's so much easier. It's so much easier to do this life thing and not do it all on your own. But this is why this is now called this God thing, not turn yourself on. Because turn yourself on is very much, yes, there is some elements that you need to do. However, this God thing is there, but we have to invite it in. And my aim is that I don't know all of the answers at all. I'm very new to this. I have probably little knowledge, but I think that's a good thing, because if I was an absolute Bible queen, it might be overwhelming. And my aim is to make it make sense in real life with your kids, in your business, with your money situation, with your health. So let's get into it. When your business is feeling really hard, when your marriage is feeling hard, when there's something in your health, like you might have struggled for years to break a habit. You might have struggled for years with a physical problem that you just cannot fix and work out. It can feel hard. Your business can feel hard. Would you have ever guessed? And it says here, it's in Galatians chapter 6, and it says, do not become weary in doing good. How often do you want to give up? Those conversations you've had with a business partner, with a friend, with a colleague, with somebody, your partner, and you're like, it's not working, and you're trying to figure it all out. You're talking about the problem, and it says here, do not become weary in doing good, just because you're not seeing the results you want, just because it's feeling hard. For at the proper time, not your time, not when we want it done, even though we've written the SMART goals and we've said, right, it's going to happen on this day and it's going to look like this. I did that years ago, and I had a baby in 2015, please, and it was a girl, because you're meant to be specific, aren't you? And then in 2016, I wanted a boy, and that was my plan. Because I'd set the SMART goals, it was going to happen, right? Well, it didn't, and I had 2 miscarriages instead. And then that makes you doubt it. But that's for a future podcast. When we're planning it all on our own and we're not handing our plans over, that's when we get some stuckness around that. But we'll do that in a future episode. For now, when you feel like quitting, when things are hard, when life is hard, when your business is hard, Do not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. You will reap a harvest. You will get whatever your heart desires if it's aligned. And again, we're going to do that in a future episode if you do not give up. So a lot of the time, it's easy to want to quit. It's easy. You've done the courses, you've done the books, you've done the work, you know the theory, you've tried to heal yourself, you've tried with all of that to do it on your own. It's easy to want to give up. It's easy to be like, oh man, it's just not working. I'm going to give up. And if you talk to people in the natural, they will agree with you. They'll be like, yeah, you've not seen the results you want. Maybe it's not working. Maybe you need to go and get a job. Maybe you need to go and do something else. In the natural, it can seem like it's not working, but we're being encouraged, even 2,000 years ago, do not become weary in doing good, because at the right time, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. Wow, I was blown away by that advice all those years ago. It's not new age advice. This is advice that's been around for years. Do not give up. So that was the first scripture, that encouragement. And that helps you to not be so specific with the goals, because it's not a sprint. It's not a quick, how do I build my business in the shortest time possible? Because I've seen that girl on Instagram that did it overnight, and mine's not doing that. It's a marathon, and you don't have to do it all on your own. That's the point of inviting this God thing in. If it still doesn't make sense, it'll start to become clearer. The second scripture that blows my mind, and it's in John chapter 6. And it's another miracle that Jesus performed. And it's so easy when you're not a believer, when you're in that doubt, like I was for years. I was doing this life thing all on my own. I knew the answers. I knew how to get stuff done. But when you're at that point of burnout, when you don't want to do life on your own, it's one of those things where you're like, I think I'm going to start to look at it. I'm going to look at what the miracles were and what's possible. In this chapter, Jesus is clearly showing what he can do. But when our business is in our hands and we're having these conversations like, it's hard, I don't know what to do next, that's a burden that is on us, and you were not meant to carry that burden. You carrying that burden stops your good. You cannot rise up to the promises. And what we're being told in this story about the 5 small loaves and the 2 small fish, the small word is so important, because when you're building your business, and it might be at the start or it might just be chugging along slowly, and the money isn't growing like you want it to, it can be easy to want to give up. We're told, do not give up. Yes, you might need rest. Yes, you might need a little break from it, but do not give up. And then the second one, which is here, is there was a big crowd. There was a lot of people to feed that day. And it's easy in the natural, when you're having those conversations with people in the natural, your business partner, your friend, your husband, to go into, how is it ever going to change? What do we need to do? That is so much on you. And it's easy, like here Philip says, I haven't got enough bread and I would have to work for a long time. That would be half a year's wages to buy enough bread. How is it ever going to happen? Jesus, it's impossible. We can feel like that when we're at that point of giving up. It's impossible. I don't know how it's going to change. Most people want to quit at that point, go and get a job. We're told, do not give up. This is why, because this is what can happen. And then Andrew comes along and he says, there's this little boy here and he's got 5 small fish, small, not big. And he's got 5 small loaves and 2 small fish. Small is the word here. So we've got this. It's not a great deal. I don't know how still it's going to feed them, the amount of people we've got here. Jesus said these words, make the people sit down. So instead of giving up, sit down and rest. Just rest for a minute. Like, I've got you. Everything's okay. And then he says there was so much grass for them to sit down on. It wasn't dust and gravel. It wasn't hard, stony surface. It was lush grass. That's key as well. An abundance of places to sit down and rest. Jesus took what they had. So what you have now in your business, what you have now in your bank account, even if it's not the results you want and it's not the money you want, he's taking that little and he's giving thanks for that little that he has. And he is saying, like it says here, he fed everybody. It was a miracle. He was turning the lack and the little. He was giving thanks for what he had, not being annoyed by it, not being frustrated by it, not talking to all of his friends about how he didn't have enough and how it was ever going to happen and he would need to save up for years in order to do it. He didn't give up, and he knew he could perform a miracle. Now, if you're in doubt thinking, that's not true, how can that possibly happen? What this story is telling us is that if we can believe, if we can have faith that our little at the minute, the little number of clients, the little number of money that you have, the lack that you're seeing in your business, in your life, in your marriage, in your health, that can be taken and turned around. Look at the people that were healed. Look at the water that was turned into wine. Look at all the people that were fed. And a lot of the time, we look at what we have got now and we're like, that's not enough. I don't know how it's ever going to change. But what we're being told is that Jesus can do a lot with a little. So, instead of talking about the obstacle, we found we were doing this, Steve and I, one day, and we were talking about the problem and we were talking about how it's going to work, how it's ever going to change. And we caught ourselves and we were like, all right, that doesn't feel great. You know, when the conversation just doesn't feel good and it feels heavy. And it's like, Jesus doesn't need you to come with all the clients, all the deals, all the money. He can provide that if we believe. He needs our faith and our belief, not our resources, because he can provide that. But do we believe? I didn't, because I didn't resonate with God, didn't resonate with Jesus. I was so fractured with those relationships. And it's only when I kept hitting that wall and hitting burnout that I was like, I'm just going to give it a go. We don't need to wait until burnout before we give it a go, but usually it's like the last thing we go to. God always uses what we have to accomplish what his plan is for us. We don't need to figure it all out. You don't need to figure it all out. Yes, you need to show up. Yes, you need to turn up and be like, hey, I'm here. But whose hands is all of your stuff in? If it's all in your hands, the lack, the figuring it all out, the littleness, if that is all on you to figure out, that is going to be a really hard place to be. It's going to burn you out. That's a lot of control. That's a lot of pressure on you. And we're being told that with your littleness, if you are willing to hand that over and trust, a lot can be done with it. You don't need to do life on your own. And even if the Jesus word, the name, God doesn't make sense to you yet, in the past, I would say to women, well, change the name. Change Jesus' name, because it's the association we've got with Jesus that is holier than thou and that is better than us. But the thing is, the Old Testament, that power was in the hands of a few. Jesus came along to give that power to us, to everybody, if we believe. And it says all the way through the Bible. I only started reading the Bible not that long ago, and I was blown away with how many times it says, if you believe. Not doubters. I used to be a complete doubter. I would doubt the word. I would doubt what was possible. But all the way through it says, if you believe. And the belief might not change overnight. It's like a muscle, the faith muscle, the belief muscle. But if you are tired, if you have done all of the work, done all of the healing, if you have tried to build your business, heal your marriage, make everything happen on your own, and you are tired and you don't want to do it all on your own, you can invite it in. And it just takes time. When your life and everything is in your hands, it can work for a while and you can get some results. But if you are at a place of wanting to quit and give up and it's hard, then we're told do not give up, maybe rest. Sit down on the grass. Sit down and rest. I've got you. Jesus is like, I've got you. Chill for a minute. Take a chill pill. I've got you. And then we're shown that a miracle can happen if we are willing to believe in it. But we have to believe. There was so much struggle that Jesus went through, so much of it, like we do, so much. It almost feels like you don't want to carry on. It can feel so painful, life. And Jesus is on the cross and it's like, it's done. So the answer to all of our problems, it's there, it's done, it's here written down. But do we believe in the word? So if you're tired, rest. Have the words in your head, do not give up. And if you are doubting that your little at the minute can ever become a lot, literally all day long, thank you for taking my little and turning it into a lot. And next time we're going to go through making us actually ready. We always want more, but are we actually ready to receive more? And we're going to go through what your purpose is, how to know your purpose, and how to actually plan. Because a lot of the time you've probably made plans and they've not come true, like the miscarriages for me. And then you can doubt it all. What the aim is to take all of that doubt and turn it into belief. So that is exactly what we do in Believe. If you want to come and join us and learn more about this and go deeper with this and experience more of this, that is what we do in Believe and this money thing. And this money thing isn't about the money, it's about everything else underneath the money. And yeah, tune in again next week. Message me during the week. I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook at Laura Jane Hand, or email me hello@laurajanehand. And let's turn our doubt into belief, and let's turn our lack into a lot when we believe. I'll see you again next time.